So in this video, I'll show you how you can mark up the screen during a Canvas quiz, or really during any time you're using a Chromebook. That's one of our HSD Chromebooks that has this tablet mode that makes it all very convenient to do this. So the first thing I need to do is I need to get out the stylus. And I can get out the stylus right here. It lives right here in the keyboard. And then I can take my Chromebook and I can flip it on these hinges all the way around until it turns into a tablet. And these school Lenovo Chromebooks are touchscreens. And right now it's just treating this like a mouse, so that's not super useful. But I can use the power button and the volume up button at once to take a screenshot. And then I can click Edit, and it pops that screenshot into this just built-in photo editing program. And this I can mark up as much as I want. I'm going to zoom in a little bit now that you don't need to see anything about the Chromebook itself, and we're just using this program. So what I can do is up here there's a bunch of different options, and the useful one for if I want to draw on something is this squiggly line, because that brings up a pen in all these colors. I can also do more of a highlighter situation in some colors, or I can do an eraser. But for this problem, it's saying this figure's a parallelogram. Point C is on the line x equals -1. So point C is over here, and it's a parallelogram, and I need to find the y value of point C. Well, a parallelogram is going to have the same slope as this line for its other line. So I can just draw that in right there. And I can see that right there, yeah, it looks like point -1, 0 would be the point for that. And so then I want the y value. So that tells me that the answer would be 0. And then I could go back over to my quiz and I could put in 0. So that's really useful if I have a graph and I need to draw on it, and that way I don't have to re-graph things. It also can be useful if you want to keep track of your thinking and cross out answers as you eliminate them. So I know I saw one in here that was a good example of when we'd want to do that. Oh, here's one. I'm going to make this a little bigger since I don't need the surrounding questions in my screenshot. So I'm going to screenshot this, edit, and then it'll overwrite my other one, which is fine with me right now. You might want to save these if you're planning on, say, asking me a question about something, because that'll show your work and your process, and you can send me that screenshot that you've saved stuff marked up on and said, so this was my thinking, why wasn't I marked correct? So this one, Amy is helping plan her school's new basketball court. The west edge of the basketball court is located on this line. Oh, I need to go into scribble on stuff mode up here. Come on. And so here is the line for the west edge. The east edge cannot intersect the west edge, so that means it has to be a parallel line. I know that parallel lines have the same slope, so I'm looking for another line with a slope of 4x. So I can just go through and eliminate these as I figure out that they won't work. So I need another one that has a slope of -4x. Well, this one has a -4x, but it's on the same side as the y. So if I added 4x to both sides to make a 0 pair and get 4x over on the other side to get it in slope-intercept form, I'd have y equals 4x minus 200. that would not be the same slope, so I've eliminated that one. Well, I can kind of go through and try the rest of them, see what I get. This one, I have a negative 4x and a negative y. So, well, I can multiply everything through here and get 4x plus y is equal to 50. I've just multiplied everything by negative 1. And then make a 0 pair here. So that 0 pairs that. So this one would be y equals negative 4x plus 50. So that's a promising option. I'm going to keep going and check the rest of them in case I've made some kind of goofy mistake. This one, because it's a negative y, I could do the same thing, but then I'd get negative 4x plus y is equal to 200. If I make a 0 pair there, it'd be positive 4x. So that would be the wrong slope. And I stopped as soon as I saw it was the wrong slope. And if you don't happen to know this about slopes, unless you're currently in my geometry class, don't stress, because I'm showing you how to eliminate options and keep track of your work rather than focusing on the math content here. So similarly here, I'll go through and switch all the signs so that y is positive. Then 0 pair that. And I would once again get a positive 4x. So it has to be this one, because I eliminated the other options. And this way I was able to show my work, keep track of my work, and keep track of everything on a screenshot. And then I can go back here and put in my answer. So this can be a really powerful tool for using your school equipment to work on these math problems and maybe interact with them a little more rather than try to keep it all in your head. You're also always welcome to write things down on a sheet of paper. And sometimes that'll be your best option. For example, on this test, we have a whole bunch of like this kind of stuff. And I'm going to need to graph that. So I mean, I could screenshot this and then I could just use the distance formula and the slope formula and that kind of thing. And so I could do it all on screen with this on a screenshot if I wanted to. But probably my first instinct on this is going to be to actually graph the triangle so I have a picture. So I'm going to want to get out graph paper, or else I'm going to want to use a program like GeoGebra to graph it, which I could also do on this tablet as a touchscreen. So that's an option as well, to use like GeoGebra or Desmos. On this one I have GeoGebra, but that is a more involved thing to learn how to do. Obviously I was in the middle of something in GeoGebra before this, so I could go ahead and graph things in here if I wanted to, but that's beyond the scope of this video. So you're not always going to want to just screenshot and scribble on stuff, but all the times when you're like, you know, if this were a pencil and paper test, I would be scribbling all over this. You can. Just take screenshots. Power button, volume up at the same time, and then click edit and pick the one that lets you make squiggly lines, and then you can screenshot it as much as you want and mark it all up. And I think that's a really good option.